we don't come with another update concerning the things when they go trade for Africa. This is a leader the Africa need, like Burkina Faso president. If you can get 10 leaders like this for each country for Africa, that means Africa can go well. We cannot be a slave for other white smell land again. My people, we could now watch this video so that you go know the things when they go on for our continent, Africa.
They enjoy saying it every year in their economic surveys. Burkina Faso is the poorest country, Mali is the poorest country, Niger is the poorest country. We are ranked among the last. Very well, if we are as poor as they say, but when the time came to take responsibility, we asked these masters to leave. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for over 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy for themselves. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are lit up. That's the light. But in Niger, it's darkness that is served to us. When you go to our states, our lands are riddled with holes, everywhere in search of precious metals like gold, but often there isn't even the slightest accessible road to reach the areas where they exploit gold, let alone some basic social services. That's why we decided to revolt and take the destiny of our countries into our own hands. There are many other examples. But when we decided to do so, well, we were approached by some armchair slaves to deliver the message of their master, because they had created this kind of polymer chain that rises to the head of our states to serve them. And we came to break the chain. And it's inconceivable for them. They approached us and asked us to fall in line, to become part of the elite that must lead Africa. Because they have a trained and conditioned elite that they must follow, who are embedded in that chain. We refused Baofat to fall in line with them. And from then on, hostilities began. They have infiltrated our areas with several mercenaries, trainers. Agents have descended into the Sahel, hoping to carry out barbaric, cowardly attacks against our populations, hoping to incite them to revolt. In addition to these on-the-ground attacks, communication attacks, manipulation, and disinformation are rampant in their ranks. But the people of the Sahel have understood, and never again will they be manipulated. They know where they come from, they know what they are doing, and they know where they are going. We will no longer allow this. People are awake and fighting today, not for ourselves, but for future generations. And thank you all for the fight that is being waged. This never makes us cry. We will not tremble. We will face it. We will fight for true independence, for our freedom. Because to scare the people of AS, these individuals only have 3 terms in their mouths: democracy, freedom, human rights. Of course, their local lackeys are only elected in a democratic, free and transparent process, according to them, their values. What could be more normal? That they want to impose this on us, because they are the ones who set the rules. Very well, we have decided to take responsibility for ourselves. That's why on July 26, 2023, when Niger decided to turn the page, the armchair slaves and their masters got on their high horses. They put their local lackeys forward and decided to wage a war against the Nigerian people. So we said, anyone who dares to attack Nigeria. This statement, this decision we made yesterday is relevant today and will be relevant tomorrow and forever. Thus, the AES was born on September 16th, 2023, within a framework of mutual defense. But we deemed it necessary to extend and expand the architecture of the AES. What brings us together today should allow us to venture into other areas beyond defense, notably finance and economy, infrastructure, health, education, and so on. I hope that these moments will be a story we write for the AES, but especially for Africa and the entire world. May God enlighten each and every one of us. May God inspire us in these tasks entrusted to us. And above all, when we carry out our work, let us keep one thing in mind: the supreme interest of our populations. With that, we pray once again to the good Lord to accompany us all in our various tasks, to protect our fighters, who, thanks to them, allow us to sit here and discuss the future of our states. Once again, thank you, people of Niger. Be united and in solidarity. People of the AES, the homeland or death.
Samura Michael, former Mozambique president, once said to his people, "Any day you see the West praising me, just know that I've betrayed you." That word is so short and simple, but it's deep. That is what is happening in Africa today. What that president actually said to his people is, the day you see the West, the Oibos, praising me, just know that I've become their puppet. In other words, any day you see them telling you that I'm a bad president, just know that I'm not paying attention to them and I'm not their puppet. And that is what has been happening in Africa. And Africans continue to fool themselves. The European will decide who is the best president to rule you, who should be there, who should come outside, who should live there, and all of that. And we Africans will be dancing to this nonsense. Now, many years, Nigerians have been crying for the oppression going on by our leaders. And we have been complaining. A lot of people have been unalive by hunger. A lot of people have been adopted by, kidnappers, banditry, and all of that. And Nigerians keep crying every blessed seconds. Do you see that the Europeans did not pay attention to that? Because all what is happening in Nigeria, they are really benefiting from it. All the banditry, all the unstable lights, name them, they are really benefiting from it. But Burkina Faso president that have taken it upon himself, that said he will fight with his last drop of blood to make his country better, is now a problem to the European. Burkina Faso have never done any wrong thing to his people. But what president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim, is bringing to his people is development, security, good life. So all these become problem to the West. West will never want to see African prosper, because they know once African prosper, they will become poor. Because anything you see in Europe today, they stole them all from Africa. Our wealth, riches, everything have developed West. African is the backbone of West. If African can go off West and West is gone, they will be the poorest country in the whole world. But because of they know our bad leader bring them riches, while our good leader bring them poverty, what did they do? They will always target our good leaders and leave the bad leader. Look at what is happening in my country. Do you see them paying attention? Look at what is going on in Cameroon. Do you see them paying attention? Cameroon president have ruled since I've known this man. Till date, is still ruling. Even rumor has it say he done the pull for body. Still, West did not have problem with him because they really do a great job to the Westerner. Look at the poverty in Uganda. Do you see them complaining? Look at what is happening in DRC. Do you see the West complaining? No, they will not complain. But any leader that is good, that want to liberate Africa, they always have problem with it. That is why they have problem with somebody like Julius Malema. The reason why they've not targeted Julius Malema is because Julius Malema is not a president for now. I bet you any day Julius Malema become a president, they'll be looking for a way to unalive him. They are not paying attention to him now because he has not emerged as a president. So Africa, we need to wake up from this lie the European keep telling you. That is why no matter what they tell me about Abacha, I will always call Abacha a great president, one of the best presidents so far in Nigeria, because that is the only president the Westerner condemn that is bad. So if Westerner tell you that somebody is bad, just know that that person is a good person.
American aids to African countries through U.S. aid. And this one is about Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. I hope this message finds its way to you. Mr. President, don't allow yourself to be used as an errand boy like they've done to your predecessors. You stood against the status quo, and that's what got you elected. It's important you keep to what has given you success and what you truly believe. Concerning the reports your army generals are feeding you with, Mr. President, you need to find out from we the African people through a non-biased route concerning what we the African people really think about the situation. If you ask any random African on the streets of America concerning their thoughts on the rulership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, I promise you, Mr. President, their response will be totally far away and different from what your generals have told you. The people you are depending on for information are military men who have done all sorts of heinous crimes around the world in the interest of American globalist and capitalist conglomerates in exchange for money and the promise of higher positions. You cannot indulge in that nonsense, Mr. President. You are better than that. When you won your elections last year in America, many Africans celebrated it, including myself, because of what you stood for, the things you spoke about during the campaign. It was nothing but common sense. It resonated around the world. You stand for America, and I respect you for that. Can you also allow us to stand for Africa and for our Captain Traore? Can you do that? And first of all, General Langley's labeling of Traore as a threat to his own people was a language spoken out of disrespect towards the people of Burkina Faso and a statement with a malicious intent, because Captain Traore is not a threat in any way, shape or form. Your general is rather the threat, and France is the threat. He didn't even want to be the leader. I'm talking about the captain after the coup in the first place. It was the Burkinabe people who made that decision. So if it is presidents that are a threat, what you are looking for, I can point you to many on our continent who have taken the presidential seat as a birthright and are not doing much to better the lives of their people. Focus on those ones and leave Traore alone. France's call on you for support is the last thing you should entertain, Mr. President, because President Macron is only doing this because he knows France has nothing without Africa. Their source of livelihood is tied up to the resources of Francophone Africa. He knows it, the world knows it. You cannot be a part of this, Mr. President. You've shut down US aid, which I applaud you for, seeing how diabolic that entity became, masquerading as helpers, but in actual fact, organizing all sorts of coups and being nation wreckers. See what they have done to Libya. Now the beautiful country of Libya is hell on earth. It's divided in two with two different ruling heads. Are you going to continue on that trajectory like your predecessors, or would you stand for truth and justice like you used to say when you said this?
George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
Are you still the Trump with that opinion that it is important for American army to go into Libya and surgically unalive Gaddafi like you said here?
Gaddafi in Libya is killing thousands of people. Nobody knows how bad it is. And we're sitting around, we have soldiers all over the Middle East, and we're not bringing them in to stop this horrible carnage. And that's what it is. It's a carnage. You talk about all of the things that have happened in history. This could be one of the worst. Now, we should go in, we should stop this guy, which would be very easy and very quick. We could do it surgically, stop him from doing it, and save these lives.
Or are you the new version of Trump, who is remorseful of the way the whole thing played out?
I made a lot of money with Gaddafi. If you remember, he came to the country and he had to make a deal with me because he needed a place to stay, and he paid me a fortune, never got to stay there, and it became sort of a big joke. But the fact is that Libya was a disaster from the standpoint of the way it was handled. It wasn't for what you have right now, and right now ISIS has their oil, John. ISIS is selling, and that's among the finest oil in the world. ISIS has taken over the Libyan oil. And we don't do blockades, we don't do anything. They're selling it, they're making a fortune with it. So we go out, we do Libya, we do it poorly as you can do it. You can't do worse. And then now, if you look at what's happened, I mean, the end result is ISIS is selling the oil, and it's a total mess.
Which one are you, Mr. President? Will you be remembered as the Trump who stood on the business of freedom and justice around the world? Or the puppet Trump who created more chaos in the world in the pursuit of other countries' resources like your predecessors? Will you allow yourself to be manipulated by the American corporations into starting a new war in Burkina Faso too, Mr. President? Remember, President Obama visited Ghana with beautiful words of helping us build stronger institutions, only to end up removing Muammar Gaddafi from office not long after. Is that the tactic you are also trying to implement? I just want you to know with all seriousness, Mr. President, that the mineral reserves of Burkina Faso and every other country in Africa belongs to we the people of these countries and not America nor France. Moving forward, that's how we want it to be. Take care of your resources and we will do the same. In addition to that, Mr. President, be honest with us on this one. When you told the Canadian Prime Minister that you didn't need their timber or their lumber, and you didn't need their dairy and this and that and all that kind of stuff in the recent trade war with the world, did you actually mean it, or was it just the usual American sarcasm of saying one thing but actually meaning another?
We don't need trees from Canada. We don't need cars from Canada. We don't need energy from Canada. We don't need anything from Canada. So where we can be self-sustaining, which is in most things. Look, we have more oil and gas than anybody. Our forests are massive forests. We're just not allowed to use them because of the environmental lunatics that stopped us. So I'm going to be freeing that up very shortly so that we don't have to go to other countries to buy lumber.
Or could it be that you don't need those supplies from your fellow white nations, but will kill anything in your path to take from the vulnerable black nations? We want to know that. Where do you stand on this, Mr. President? I can tell you this for sure. This wind of change won't stop. I can promise you it's only going to spread across Africa eventually. The era when the limited media manipulated the narratives and served to us as truth is gone. If MAGA can mean make America great in America, then MAGA can also mean make Africa great in Africa. We love what we are seeing in the captain, and you, Mr. President, you have to learn to live with that. I hope this letter finds its way to you.
This issue of Burkina Faso and Captain Ibrahim Traore has suddenly become one of the biggest political issues in the world, trending regularly on social media. My own interview with our dear friend and guest Nico House on this very subject, literally on this exact subject, is one of our biggest, most viewed clips in all the history of the mother of all talk shows. It's in the millions. Millions of people have watched it on all platforms, including pirates by the dozen going out on TikTok, which is now a pretty regular thing. We're not always able to keep track of them in order to count them and claim the credit for them, but I can say that millions have watched what Nico House said and what I said about Captain Traore. It's even worse than you said, Amy. He didn't just accuse Captain Ibrahim of stealing Burkina Faso's gold. He accused him of stealing Burkina Faso's gold to pay for his own protection. Well, I wonder why he would need protection. Well, one of the obvious reasons is that both France and the United States are quite clearly committed to killing him. What is it about Captain Traore that they want to kill? Well, in addition to the great strides forward that you have adumbrated, this very week, the Burkina Faso government abolished all education fees. It is now free to go to nursery, primary, secondary, and university in Burkina Faso. What's not to love about that? Traore has nationalized the building of the country's roads when he discovered that the private French companies that were hitherto building the roads were charging up to 100 times more for the building of those roads than the government of Burkina Faso itself can do. And so he's brought it in-house. There's now a public works department in Burkina Faso, in Ouagadougou, which will henceforth pave and lay roads across the whole.
France is calling for an all-out war against Russia. But the Europeans have to tread carefully because they have a lot more to lose than to gain. The Russians don't have military bases overseas. The Russians are not interested in occupying countries in Africa and in the Falklands and all over the world like the Europeans have done. The fight against Russia is not just going to be domiciled in Europe or in Ukraine. It is going to be a fight in Africa, in the Americas. It's going to be a fight in the Pacific. The Europeans have a lot more to lose. German companies, French companies, Belgian companies, British companies, Swiss companies, all these Europeans that are milking Africa should kiss their assets in Africa goodbye if they engage the Russians in the fight in Europe, particularly in Ukraine. The French are already being kicked out of the Sahel of Africa. Companies like Arriva, Total Energies, Orange, big French companies will be targeted.
America must never tell us what to do. The same United States, which is furious at being cut off from the riches of Burkina Faso, cannot tell us what to do. We stand with Captain Traore. We stand with Traore because we know that Traore stands for the unity of Africa. We are Traore, and Traore is all of us. If they kill Traore, you must know they would have created another wound in the continent of Africa. We must defend him the same way we defend the unity of Africa. We must defend China for defying the USA and telling the USA to go to hell because they don't understand how the tariffs works. Donald Trump is an enemy of himself and all of us. And he must know the EFF is not scared of him. The EFF is not scared of Israel. The EFF is not scared of Morocco. The EFF is not scared of the imperialist forces. The EFF will stand on the side of the people of DRC, the people of Sudan, and the people of Sahrawi.
Russia, I would like to say thank you so much, Russia. Your sacrifices for Africa are more than some of our code leaders that are in the offices today. Russia, you have contributed to the freedom of a black person. Ever since the so-called colonialism, slave trader, apartheid, Russia, you have been with us. You stood by us all the way. We have got them today, the traitors and the betrayers, that you have assisted Russia. You have assisted them. They are our fathers. They are today as our presidents. They are there as our ministers. They're in the offices today. You provided all the necessary logistics, all the resources, military training, political training. You provided to Africa except Ethiopia. But the rest of the continent, we are the product of this so-called independence, this so-called democracy. We got it from Russia. What happened after that? Our so-called leaders betrayed you, Russia, betrayed our revolution, betrayed our freedom, betrayed our independence, betrayed our sovereignty. Hence today, we are still the slaves of neocolonialism, white capital monopoly, imperialism, and capitalism. Those colonizers had never lifted their knee on our neck. It is still there because of our so-called leaders that are in the offices today, that you, Russia, have assisted. But unfortunately, they sold all our freedom for the love of money. There is corruption in America. There is corruption in Europe. That is what they followed. They followed their masters. They only came back with their pockets full of money, and they sold everything in Africa, including us as the human beings. They sold us. Our land, our wild animals, our rivers and mountains, they sold everything. And today I also say, my apologies to you, Russia. I am sorry. As you can see, you are fighting the whole of Europe, the whole of United States of America. You are fighting NATO. They are fighting you, Russia, today. Only mainly because you assisted Africa. As the new upcoming generation of Africa, we would like to say to you, Russia, we are going to rectify this. We are going to deal with them as the traitors. The spirit is calling us to take over, and we are going to do that. Many more coup d'etats are coming all over. Only 3 countries that are free and independent in Africa today.
Ibrahim Traore, I love you, brother. Hey, keep standing strong, man. Every morning I wake up, man, I pray for you at night that nothing happened to you, man, because one thing about it, we know they've been trying to take you out since 2022, but I love what you're doing, man. Stay strong, stay smart, and stay opening up these people's eyes and making them realize that we are great. We ain't got no reason to be down on ourselves. And we see what they doing over here, how they trying to send somebody that look like me over there to handle their business, and it ain't right, man. That's why I love the people of Burkina Faso, and I need everybody to go follow my backup page. I done went so hard on this one that they don't even want to keep this page up, so I'm going to tag my name. All you got to do is click on it. But one thing about them people of Burkina Faso, hey, boy, they strong. I'm telling you, you got Jamaica, you really got the whole world on one right now. You got people waking up and realizing that we ain't got to keep living this same thing that's just been going on. It's time for a change. When you said that them chains are coming off, that hurt them, and I actually feel it, and they feel it too. That's why they keep on trying to do what they trying to do to this young brother, and it's up to us to make sure that he stays safe, and we stand up and we be who we need to be, because one thing about it, man, we don't need nothing happening like it happened to Gaddafi or Libya. We don't need no more of these type of tragedies going on, man, because somebody want to be great and they want more and they willing to actually do more. Somebody that don't need to go buy a $500 million yacht. He'd rather put that $500 million into his country. That's the type of man that I respect. That's the type of man I wish we had more leaders like. Because one thing about it, a lot of these people out here, they ain't got that heart and they ain't got that soul. This brother here, he is IT. That means he is it. Do y'all understand me? I love what he doing, and I can't wait till I can come to Africa and I can serve in any kind of way. Because behind him, I don't mind serving. Whatever y'all need me to do, I'm willing to do. That's how much I rock with y'all, Africa. Because one thing about it, I'm woke. I'm not under the illusion that they've been keeping these people under over here. My eyes are actually open. And y'all go follow my backup page, because when I make videos like this, it could get me banned. So y'all make sure y'all tap on the screen and y'all come follow my backup page. We already got to over 1,000 followers on there in one day. Today we need to get at least 2 more thousand. Make sure y'all hit that button so I can keep dropping videos, uniting us and bringing us together. I love the people of Burkina Faso. And Ibrahim Traore, you are a hero.